share is that maintaining the confidentiality. I have seen that counselor always taking care of such factors. So she only speaks to her when in a particular isolation. So she has her room also there where nobody other can enter without her permission. So there she used to talk. She used to take sessions with the students. So I'll say again, see, in our schools, we do not have a very strong culture of counseling. I will say that very recently we have introduced it. And still we have counselor, one counselor for 2 schools, for 3 schools. So it's like add and stir approach that fine. The school needs a counselor, so we are giving it. So, but it's not very compared to like fortunately when I was in US and I saw the culture of counseling over there. So in the school where I was, so there were 2,800 students and there were around 20 counselors. So I was surprised, they all have their, chamber, and each counselors were assigned the number of students that this is the number of students you will have. So generally one counselor used to have 200 students. So every day they used to have sessions and all. So they have a very systematic, embedded, structure of counseling. It's not add and stir approach which we used to have here in India as of now. So we cannot expect much from the kind of counseling system which we have as of now, because as I told you that one counselor is working for 2 to 3 schools. But still, the kind of counselor which I got the opportunity to speak to, she was like well trained, and she used to follow all the professional principles to talk to students about these issues and these cases. And what I feel that since we are discussing it with teachers, that here we still feel that each teachers are counselor and they have to perform this role. And in fact, first-hand counseling is obviously the teacher who needs to perform. So coming back to this, for a speedy trial, the evidence of the child is to be recorded within a period of 30 days. Also, the special court is complete the trial within 1 year. So this is interesting in a case that time has been specified in the cases of child sexual abuse under the POCSO Act. Otherwise, we see in other kind of cases under the IPC, perhaps, there's no specific time boundaries. For offenses under this act, the burden of proof is shifted on the accused, keeping in view the vulnerability and innocence of children. So, yeah, this is again a major shift from our normal practices, that to prove that someone is not accused, the responsibility and the burden of proof is on the accused, not on the children. To prevent misuse of the law, punishment has been provided for false complaints or false information with malicious intent. The media has been barred from disclosing the identity of the child without the permission of the special court. The punishment for breaching this provision by media may be from 6 months to 1 year. The Act casts duty on state to spread awareness to the general public of the provisions of this Act through media, television, radio, and print at regular intervals. So basically, what we experienced that in most of the training sessions, we used to have a session on POCSO Act. So this comes under the provision of POCSO only. That's the Act casts duty on a state to spread awareness. So again, what we are doing is basically creating awareness. The registered medical practitioners rendering medical care shall, and we'll come to it later. I would also like to know, if some of you would like to share that, how as a teacher you ice breaks and starts us discussions in the classroom. If you ever get a chance to do this, how have you done that? I would also like to know, if some of you can share it, because that is something which is very, very teacher specific, where each one of us are working in a different context and we have to find our own ways. Perhaps there's no formula.
Yeah, teachers, please.
Anyone of you got a chance to initiate such conversations in the classroom? How could you do that?
Any one of you, please unmute yourself and share. I understand that it is a very sensitive issue, but I'm sure that nothing, I mean, it's not that every time it happens, but if any one of you have had, experienced such a situation, we would like you to share it over here.
Yes, ma'am, I never experienced such a situation. But then the whole discussion has given me a cue that I should be open. I should be that much probably acceptable to my children that they should open up to me if something like this comes. Generally, we do not talk about such things in the class because we do not know the kind of background children are coming from. And obviously, there is always a risk that we may end up in a soup. But probably I would like to make myself in such a way that if something like this comes up, the child should feel safe to open up to me. At least that I will do. How I'm going to tackle the situation, that I can say only God forbids if it comes. But then at least that kind of safe haven I would like to provide to my girls.
And as Sir said that this thing is not basically related only to girls. Even boys face such problems, and that is also not come out in the open light. Most of the
And
times because we.
it's not just why in large number we have seen in data it's approximately 43%.
As we are teaching in girls' school, so I guess we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
talk about
yeah. No,
that.
even otherwise, because you're a teachers, you're all, handling students like you're in a girls' school. Even otherwise, if you're looking around, even if not in school also, yeah, even within your relations or anything like that. So, even in that case, I guess what Sir is saying, we really must kind of understand that the situation and react accordingly. Right, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also like to add that, see, for each teacher, it's a journey, because even we have grown up in a particular society where we have been trained where to keep silence and what to speak, what is considered as appropriate and what is considered as not appropriate. So it's a challenge for us as well. So for example, if I give my example, so while teaching social science, we used to have a sex ratio. So in the beginning, I used to escape this word. So threatening I used to feel in the classroom that I cannot use the word sex. So it's a it's a challenging one for each one of us, and we gradually, we grow as a teacher. We participate in such conversation, and uh, it will completely depend upon us that how comfortable we are. So like when we are comfortable in talking about this, then only our children can be comfortable about this. Suppose when I'm talking about this and I'm not comfortable, the students are definitely not going to be comfortable and not going to talk about this. So what I'll say is, yeah, it needs a lot of understanding, practices in communication. uh, so we have to prepare basically, and it's not something which will come all of a sudden that on a fine day you will find yourself very comfortable in talking about all these things in the classroom. That doesn't happen, I feel. uh, that most of you can understand with your own experiences of being a teacher, how to deal with this. But gradually we need to improve. We need to be comfortable about all this issue, talking about all these issues. And again, as I told, that it's our level of comfort that actually communicates to our students. When they find teacher are very comfortable talking about this issue, only in this situation they also feel comfortable and they speak up. So that I'll say that it's a journey. We all need to see it as a part of our preparation, as a part of our being a teacher in a journey, who is gradually learning. So anyway, we could be very expert in our subjects, but when it comes to talk about all such issues, we might be very uncomfortable in the classroom. And again, as I told, that if there is a female teacher and dealing a co-ed classroom or a classroom of boys, It would be a different situation if a male teacher and speaking about it in a classroom of girls, it would be a different situation. But again, we have to learn this, and I'll say that this is a skill which we need to develop gradually. Well, so moving ahead, we'll not go without a police. Couple of things are here. We'll go. Some of things we'll skip also, which are of not our
Sir,
requirement.
do educate us on the legal part because that is more important.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So the Supreme Court had observed in the state of Karnataka versus, there is a case quoted here. The medical examination of sexual violence victims should be done immediately, and no hospital doctor should delay examination for want of police requisition. Section 27 of POCSO Act, Protection of Child Right from Sexual Offence Act in year 2012, and Rules 5 of POCSO rules specify not to insist for police requisition or magistrate order before conducting medical examination. So what we understand from this, that medical examination is necessary even if there is a police along with the child or not, whether the case has been registered or not. If it has been brought to the doctor, doctor must perform the medical examination. Then section 350C of CRPC also states that the hospital first conduct the examination. All these legal changes thus ensures the right of sexual violence victim to voluntarily report to the hospital instead of to the police or court after sexual violence. And also that the medical examination of sexual violence victim is a medico-legal emergency. So this is again important. It is why this is a special mention here, that in most of the cases, hospital and doctors deny that unless there is a police or unless the case is registered, we are not going to deal with this. But this, there is a special provision that in this case of child sexual abuse, this is a medical legal emergency. Doctors cannot refuse in this case. So that also we need to be aware of. Is it mandatory to inform police? Yes, section 19 says, and 357 of CRPC, both instruct the doctor and a hospital to mandatorily inform the police when they are examining a case of sexual violence. So for doctors, it is mandatory for them that while case has been reported to the doctor, they are supposed to inform police. And section 21 of POCSO Act and section 166B of IPC prescribe punishment for not following the direction of section 19, it means the above one, and section 357. There are, punishment in case doctor does not inform police, so then there is a punishment for doctors also under this POCSO Act. Is it mandatory to go to government hospital for sexual violence examinations? No. So now mandates all hospitals, irrespective of being government, public sector, or private sector, the responsibility of immediately providing first aid or medical treatment free of cost, thus removing the major barrier which existed earlier of insisting government hospitals only. So that was another kind of barrier. So private hospital doctors used to refer it to the government hospitals. So there's no barrier of this kind related.
Network issue, sir? Hello? Murari, sir, are you able to hear? बस होने वाला है
टीवी ऑन कर रहा हूँ, टीवी बंद कर रहा तुमने किसको पूछे? टीवी ऑन कर दे।
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, please.
Actually, there was some network issue this side, so yeah. Okay. The 2005 Criminal Law Amendment in Section 164A CRPC put an end to this insistence of female doctor by stating any doctor with whom the female victim consented can carry out this examination. So, we are a large country and there are areas where the female availability of female doctors may not be possible. In that case, if the victim gives the consent, so male doctor can also examine such cases. Is treatment part of doctor's role? There is a major shift from the past model of mere evidence collection in such cases to the model of insisting on treatment for doctors. There's some disturbances. Yeah.
I've muted that person.
Yeah. So, earlier the role of doctor was considered as just the one who testify for the evidence. But this act makes it mandatory for the doctors to treat for, to give medical treatment. It's the role of the doctor is not to just bring evidences. They are responsible for giving medical treatment. What is the relevance of medical opinion in current law? Earlier, courts were giving a lot of credit to the medical evidence for providing a charge of rape, sexual assault, when the law of rape was looking for penetrative penovaginal sexual intercourse. Now that the law of rape, sexual assault is changed from recognizing even non-penetrative acts and also penetrative acts into anus, oral, urethra, vagina, by either penis or objects or body parts, there could be several situations of rape, sexual assault with no medical evidences at all. This has to be clearly understood by doctors, police, lawyers, courts, and all stakeholders in providing justice to the sexual violence victims. So this is not just related to now the evidence which has been given by the doctors. This act goes beyond that. All these days, when a male doctor was conducting the examination of a female, it was insisted for the presence of disinterested, sound, major female person as a witness. So these are all the details I would share it with. The slide can be shared with the participants, ma'am. I'll share it with you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, but this, I mean, the third aspect, in the first aspect, we discussed what the law says and how it defines the child sexual abuse case. And we also discussed about some of the cases. The second is about the medical treatment and the evidences, the role of police. This is also one of the most important aspect of this case, that is about rehabilitation. So, and this is why it is called that the POCSO is a complete act, basically. So it is not just about defining crime and giving punishment. It extends it to the rehabilitation, that the responsibility of the state doesn't end with the provision of the punishment. Rather, it goes to the rehabilitation of the child. So this is something very important aspect. So we'll just know a few things about it. To provide for relief and rehabilitation of the child as soon as the complaint is made to the special juvenile police unit or local police. So once police is informed, it's the responsibility of the police to report it to SJPU, Special Juvenile Police Unit. Each and every district has this unit, SJPU, under the provision of POCSO Act. These will make immediate arrangement for child care and protection, such as admitting the child into shelter home or to nearest hospital within 24 hours of the report. The SJPU or local police are also required to report the matter to the Child Welfare Committee. This is another body. So as I told, SJPU is in each district and CWC will be in each state. And SJPU would report the case to Child Welfare Committee within 24 hours of recording the complaint for long-term rehabilitation of the child. And it's the responsibility of the CWC to think for the long-term rehabilitation of the child. And there are few roles of CWC stated here. So like CWC play a vital role under the POCSO Act. Cases registered under this act need to be reported to the CWC within 24 hours of recording the complaint. The CWC should take into account the opinion of the child to decide on the case within 3 days and conclude whether the child should remain in an institution or be with the family. So that's the responsibility of the CWC to decide. Because in many cases where the perpetrator is from the family, the CWC may decide to take away the child from the family. The CWC should nominate with the consent of the child, parent, guardian, other person who the child trusts, a support person to assist the child during the investigation and trial of the cases. Public awareness about Act, and this is what we are doing. So, I mean, if I just conclude it, so the POCSO Act 2012 looks into a support system for children through a friendly atmosphere in the criminal justice system with the existing machinery, that is the CWC and the commission. The positive aspect is the appointment of the support person for the child who would assist during the investigation, pre-trial, trial, and post-trial. The major challenge would also like to converge between, well, so we can go through it. I won't read it whole. I will just recapitulate. So in one, I mean, we understood this, what this act is, why it was brought, because before 2012 there was no specific act. Then we got the definition, and the definition is very elaborate. It actually has graded the different kind of child sexual abuses, and it has graded punishment. And punishment, originally it did not have provision for the capital punishment, but later by amendment the capital punishment was also added in case of aggravated child sexual abuse, where it culminates into the death of the child. And we have also seen the role of the police and the role of the doctors and the role of juvenile police unit, which is in every district, and the role of CWC, the Child Welfare Committee of the state, in rehabilitation of the child. So this is a kind of a comprehensive act. But what we can go with is basically the idea to speak up about this, create a facilitating environment wherever we are, within the family and in the school, wherever we are, where more people can speak up. And one thing which I recently learned, would like to share with you all, that particularly when we talk about the child, we often teach them about safe and unsafe touch. But it was very revealing for me a couple of years ago when I learned about it, that safe and unsafe touch is very, very subjective. It's not about touching personal part. So for sexual gratification, any part could be sexual part, right? So we have to prepare our child to understand it by the intention, that how it has been touched. It is not just limited to a private part and public part. So private and public is no more relevant. It's about safe and unsafe, which is more important. And for sexual gratification, any part could be the part of sexual gratification. So we need to bring this awareness among our children also. So that was something very revealing for me when I came to know, and I found it very true. So that's all shared with you all. So basically we need to speak up. That's the lesson I feel is the most important thing, to create facilitating environment for our child to speak up, and that's the greatest deterrent. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. If any teacher wants to interact or speak, ask, we're open for 5 minutes, just in case you want to discuss anything. Yeah, Neha Yadav, please you unmute yourself and discuss what you felt. We would like to hear from you, teachers. So this was a session specially for you all. So I would like to hear from you. This is the last session for this day. So anyways, I guess the teachers are shy. So thank you so much, sir, Murari sir. I think both the sessions, that is the gender and POXO, they were interrelated. And as teachers, I think we are also part of this society. And I think even after the parents, we teachers are the main shield for students. So this was very necessary, actually, to make them understand, the teachers to make the students understand that you need to speak up. That is what, like in the last line also you said. So I hope our teachers have also understood this and they will implement in future. So I end this session for today with a thank you note for all our lovely participants as well as our resource person for today, Murari sir. So thank you once again.
It was great for me also to interact with all of you. Thank you.